I've had multiple neurodivergent acquaintances say to me that they believe neurotypicals basically just want to be lied to on a daily basis. And what they mean by that is that neurotypicals perceive the world very differently from us. They're more interested in social niceties, social grooming, adhering to a preset kind of vocabulary for interactions. And often this vocabulary is exclusionary where it comes to being objective or truthful. And so when you interact with people, they want to be flattered, they want their egos to be fluffed, they want to be told what they want to be told, disregarding any kind of objective perception or reality. And it can often feel like that for neurodivergence. We are all straight talkers. Well, a lot of us are straight talkers. We tend to be very direct unless we're masking. That's my caveat here, is that many of us learn to mask to compensate. So we engage in people pleasing and we engage in this kind of what's perceived to be by some as lying to navigate social situations. And this can feel very disingenuous, and it can feel like, in a way, a kind of a moral injury because we're not being our authentic selves, and we're being told repeatedly, actually being your authentic self is a bad thing. And you shouldn't do that because if you do, here are the negative repercussions: social rejection, punishment, judgment, exclusion. And we're basically being trained in many ways to be inherently deceptive people. And that can really hurt, that can really wound, believing that you can't ever be your objective self, because if you do, there'll be serious ramifications. And then you're punished if you are sincere or direct, and then you're reinforced if you agree to kind of engage in the social niceties and grooming people and fluffing their egos. And so we're left, many of us, with this prevailing opinion that we're expected to be compulsive liars and to engage in this social farce of performing niceties and acting a certain way and saying certain things to appease other people, but always steering clear of the truth because it might offend some people or hurt their feelings. Now, granted, even neurodivergence can be hurt by truth and directness if it's not handled in the right way. We're not immune to that. We do prefer, as a generalization here, as a population, direct communication. We like it because it means we know where we stand with somebody or in a certain situation, and it's very efficient, right? But we can also have our feelings hurt if somebody runs roughshod over them. So I think it's an important distinction to not get too black and white thinking about this and realize that yes, there is some degree of deception, social grooming that goes on in social interactions, especially with neurodivergence, but also with some neurotypicals, because we do like to be, for example, sometimes complimented or praised or raised up in some way. But we also can kind of tread that line, and it is a very thin line, between engaging in that necessary social grooming, but still being objective and truthful and direct in our communication, but maybe being selective about when we are presenting or what we choose to say or not to say. So for me, I've learned that maybe sometimes holding my tongue is the best way to move forward, but I might not actively lie. I may say something and, kind of zhuzh it to be a little bit more appealing to people, or being a little bit more friendly, so I'm not tone deaf. It's coming across the right way. And that's a necessary modulation. That's something I advocate for. Modulating, not masking. Because when you mask, it's inherent deception. It's covering over the truth. And sometimes it's necessary, but if we can modulate and just flex a little bit and adjust how we say things and do things, we can have an easier way navigating social situations, especially with neurodivergence. How do you feel about this? Do you feel like you've had to lie in social situations to get by? Do you feel like neurodivergents tend to be a lot more truthful, and that neurotypicals like you to be more deceptive or inherently to mask and inherently hide all the traits that are coming second nature to you? Are they expecting you to fabricate beliefs or engage in behaviors that aren't authentic in order for you to socially succeed? I would love to hear from you. What have your experiences been?